I haven't been this excited about a Mac for a while now. And yes, we've had M chips inside Macs for a few years and they have completely changed the game. But for the last couple of years, I just feel like Macs have gotten kind of stale. Every generation, yes, is more powerful than the last, but design-wise, Macs have been pretty much the same, and there hasn't been much really improved when it comes to Macs to make me excited about buying a new one. And while yes, I could say the same for this year's Macs, there is one exception. This is the 2024 Mac Mini with a $600 starting price. The same starting price as the previous generation Mac Mini, but this one has so much more going for it. Inside the box, you get pretty much the basics, the Mac Mini right on top, and this thing is tiny, completely redesigned with a smaller footprint. It looks more like a mini Mac Studio, which I really like. I prefer this design over the previous one, not only because it's smaller, it just looks better in my opinion. Underneath the Mac Mini inside the box, you also get a power cable and some paperwork, but really nothing else. No stickers or other accessories. You're just getting the computer and that's pretty much it. Now looking at the port situation, I really do like what Apple is doing here with the Mac Mini. You have 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports on the back, an HDMI port, and a gigabit Ethernet port as well. And of course you see there the port for the power cable. But the difference that I really do like is that Apple decided to move some of the USB-C ports to the front, which is a difference from last year's or previous generation's Mac Mini, which had all the ports on the back. It's nice to have 2 USB-C ports on the front so you can easily plug accessories if you need to. And you also get a 3.5mm headphone jack on the front. I'm not crazy about the placement of the headphone jack in the front, but I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Now I know a lot of people are complaining about the placement of the power button, but for me personally, I've been using the Mac Mini for over a week now. I haven't had to turn on the computer. I've only turned it off once. For the most part, I've left this on. And if I had to turn it on, reaching down and pushing the power button isn't a huge deal. People are just kind of blowing this out of proportion. In my opinion, it's not a button that you're going to use every single day. If you're the type of person that does turn off their computer, maybe it's a deal breaker for you. But for me personally, I always leave it on. It's not a huge deal. Now I do like how Apple gave us plenty of ports to choose from here. I wish they would have added an SD card slot. That would have been nice to have on the Mac Mini, but it's not a huge deal. You can always use an adapter. Now talking about the headphone jack, I wish it was on the back, and it's really kind of a personal preference. I understand why Apple would have put it on the front. It just gives it easier access to just plugging in headphones. But if you prefer to use external speakers, that's where it kind of doesn't look right because you have to plug into the front. It just doesn't give it a clean look. I wish it was on the back so that if you did plug in speakers, you can't see those cables. It just looks clean on top of your desk with some external speakers. But it's not a huge deal, and I think for some people, they would probably prefer that the headphone jack be in the front. That's just my personal opinion and my personal preference. And I really just love how compact the Mac Mini is. I mean, look at that. Look how compact this computer is in my hand. It's slightly thicker than the previous Mac Mini, but the footprint itself is a lot smaller, and it's just gonna be perfect for keeping it on your desk. And of course, there's gonna be so many accessories that are gonna allow you to mount this to the back of your monitor and just keep it out of the way. And I just really like what Apple did here. But as much as I love how compact the Mac Mini is, can we just talk about how powerful this Mac Mini is? Because that's what really makes it special in my opinion. I continue to be amazed at what Apple did here. Just looking at the benchmarks, I ran Geekbench 6 CPU and GPU benchmarks, and the results are pretty incredible. Single core performance for the CPU benchmark is amazing, and it's in line with last year's M3 Max. Now keep in mind, this is the base M4 for the Mac Mini. I'm sure the M4 Pro is gonna have even better benchmarks and just have better performance overall. Now, when it comes to multi-core, of course, it's not gonna be as good as the M3 Max, which has more cores, but it's still pretty incredible what you're getting for this price tag. Being on par with the much more expensive M3 Max when it comes to single core performance for the CPU is really impressive. When it comes to graphics, I did notice a nice boost in graphics benchmarks, but it's still not on the level as the previous Pro or Ultra chips, but it's a nice increase from the standard M chips from previous generations. Another area that's really going to help with performance is the 16 gigabytes of RAM instead of 8 gigabytes that the previous Mac Mini had. And that just makes a big difference. Having double the RAM for doing tasks is going to be so much better with this machine. Now the Mac Mini does have a fan built into the bottom. There's an area where it sucks in cool air and the hot air comes out through the back. It's a new redesigned cooling system this year with the Mac Mini, and I haven't really noticed any issues with overheating. I don't even hear really the fan going on even when I'm trying to push this machine. Now, one thing that I will complain about though is the starting storage. It only comes with 256 gigabytes of internal starting storage, and that's for the $600 version. If you want to get double the storage, 512, you're gonna have to pay $200 more, which is kind of crazy that you're paying $200 more for double the storage. Apple is just kind of really going crazy with those prices. Now I get $600 for the Mac Mini is a really great deal. I do give Apple a lot of credit for keeping that same price tag, but I just wish they would have given us a starting storage of 512. Maybe I'm asking too much. Even if they raised the price to $700 and gave it 512 gigabytes, I think that would be so much better, but it is what it is. I did opt for the 512 gigabyte version of the Mac Mini. I couldn't do 256 gigabytes. I just think it's ridiculous to have that starting storage in 2024. Now, with that in mind, I still think that this is one of the best deals available out there. This is really a no-brainer for anyone that just wants to get into using a Mac or just wants to purchase maybe their first Mac ever or just wants a Mac to do everything they need it to do. This is going to handle most of the tasks that everyday people want to do. You get some amazing performance for a relatively low price tag and a design that's going to be convenient to keep on any desk. So far, I'm still running some tests and really trying to push this device to its limits. And I'll of course continue to be using it to edit 4K video for this channel, and I'll let you know how it goes. But so far, I'm just really impressed and I have really high hopes for the Mac Mini. But let me know what you think. Are you excited about this all new 2024 Mac Mini? Do you like the new design? Are you kind of impressed with the performance numbers here? Let me know with a comment down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos just like this one on tech news, reviews, and opinions, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos, and I'll see you on the next one.